النبيين ورسول منهم يتلو عليه آياته ويزكيهم ويرتاب الحمد لله الحمد لله نحمده ونصلي على سيدنا محمد ورسوله الكريم ختم النبي رحمة العالمين أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمد عبده ورسوله. قال الله تعالى يا أيها الذين آمنوا استعينوا بالصبر والصلاة إن الله مع الصابرين. أما بعد. My dear beloved people, today, as always, we're thankful to Almighty God, Allah, for blessing us to be here. And we're thankful to Allah that you're here with us, because there are many places you could be, many things you could be doing. But by Allah's grace, we're here and you're here. And we want today to share with you, as the Imam mentioned, we are trying, by Allah's grace and with His help, to move the community, the Jamaat, us here, to another level. And we are hoping and praying to Allah that we can do it in a way that all of us will be pleased with. And I begin this khutbah today with an ayah in the Quran that is translated, "O you who believe, ya ayyuhal ladina amanu, O you who have faith. Seek God's help. Esta'inu bis-sabr, with patience, perseverance, and tenacity of will. Was-salat, and with prayer, and faith, and hope." All the word salat covers all of that. And it says, "For verily inna Allaha ma'a sabirin." Verily Allah, surely Allah is with the patient. Now, when I was planning this particular khutbah, I thought about my mind that sometimes you have these streams of consciousness. And my mind quickly raced through the Quran on different ayahs where I talk about who Allah is with. And I was trying to, I said, you know, my wife always reminds me, she said, don't overwhelm the people. Sometimes you got to keep in mind that you have about 40-something years of serious Quranic study. So when you think about something, sometimes you get, you know. So I'm trying to stick with this particular ayah. And I'm going to, inshallah, make some connections, and hopefully, inshallah, those of you who are students of the Quran will go home and look them up and reflect on them. Now, our topic today is increasing or enhancing the Muslim presence. That's what we're going to talk about, inshallah, today. When we begin our salat, our prayer, in Surah Al-Fatiha, after asking or begging Allah, say, "Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in." You do we slave for, you do we worship, and you do we seek help for. But however, this particular term, nasta'in, is from the verb ana. Ana gets the idea of, it comes from the Arabic evolution of the language of the help that can only come from a divine source. The other types of help, I think we talked about this, it says that the surah called to help, and that's the nasr. It's إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ وَالْفَتْحُ. That is the synonym of this word, nasta'in. But nasta'in is help that comes from Allah, but that help is already in you. Because it's esta. Esta is the 10th form of the verb that means it's something that's in you already. That under the right set of conditions, the right set of circumstances, is going to come out. So you ask Allah, you say, You that we serve, you that we worship, and you that we ask to help bring this out. Right? Because Allah knows what He has deposited in us. And as human beings, sometimes we don't always recognize that we have such great potential. But however, most people don't realize their potential. They go by, Allah says in the Quran, they go by heedlessness. So when you say, Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in, you say, oh Allah, my nature is to worship you. See, and this is profound. You can think about it. People who understand human behavior tendencies know that you're going to worship something. Because it's in you. All right? It's in you already. Now the question is, are you going to worship that which is going to help bring out of you your potential? That's why it has this equation in it. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. So if you wish the wrong thing, it will never bring out of you your potential. Right? You'll be wishing something that doesn't dignify you as a human being. A human being has great potential. So Allah tells us, well, how are we to get this help? How are we to get this development that is laying dormant in us? How are we to reach this? Well, God says, oh, you who have faith. First of all, we talked about this before, the quality you must have is great faith. If you're a person who don't believe things are possible, you would never even exist, because the probability of there being a planet in a solar system like this, in the what you call the inhabitable zone, so far from the sun, on a sun that gives so much light, is so improbable that if it wasn't for the help of God, the human being wouldn't even exist at all. And I can go back even further. So when you understand Iyaka na'budu, all right, whoever or whatever created me is what I should serve. But whoever or whatever created me is the one I should ask for help to realize what is my potential to come into the fullness of my reality. And those who have done this, I want to talk to this. I said last time I was here, I'm not talking to people anymore who haven't yet realized the power of Islam in your life. I'm not just talking to those of you who don't understand that what you have, given as a Muslim, gives you the ability to realize your fullest potential. All right? And I thank Allah. I thank Allah over and over again. I was, as the Imam just mentioned, I was looking over our feasibility study. And I'm so thankful that so many of you responded, because they told me that you are where I prayed a long time for you to be at that point where you understand that with our small means, coming together under the principle of Tawheed, we can do great things. But we have to, first of all, believe that it's possible. You have to be a people of great faith, and I talked about it left on that, so I'm not gonna go repeat it, but I'm just gonna kind of touch on that. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. I'm talking to those of you who, if you have achieved anything in your life, you know that one of the qualities you had to believe that it was possible. And you had to have the faith to hold on through the difficult times. And you had to have the patience to wait until the season was right, the conditions was right. But you had to be ready, because you know that you as a human being is like the seed. The seed had the potential to be an oak tree, but it may wait in the ground for years until I was watching a show on Nature Channel talking about how there's some seeds that be in the desert and they be dry, they look like stones. And every now and then it rains and those seeds, boom, come to life. Under the right conditions, these things that once looked like little pebbles were really seeds with the potential to realize these great achievements that was once dormant and waiting in earth. Well, that's a sign. That's a sign to each and every one of us. That's a sign that in us lies a giant. But unless you have the water of faith, you will never realize that giant. You'll always be a midget, thinking small, doing small things, and thinking you have arrived with this great religion. Think about it. I want you to think about this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and this day have I completed for you your religion. and have chosen and have perfected for you and have chosen for you Al-Islam, all right? But before he said though that this day have I completed my favor, think about this. The sun is here, the moon is here, all of the natural elements is here. God don't say that those are his favor to you, all right? He don't say that. He said that the religion of Islam is the favor. Why? Because that is the help you need to realize your potential and get the benefit out of the material creation. So the material creation is here, but that's not the favor from Allah. The favor for the human being is being blessed to come into the reality of himself as a creature that's going to worship God with consciousness, not out of habit, not out of rote memory, but someone who has thought about that. I say again, whoever or whatever created me is the one I should worship, and the one that's going to help me realize something that's yearning in my soul to be expressed. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. And that favor, I say to you, brothers and sisters, is this song. Now, how are we going to realize the fullness of our potential? How are we going to do this? When you look at this on a timeline, I'd like to give you a timeline, inshallah. We think about Islam, we think about where we are, we become Muslim. Some of us are born Muslim, some of us converted or reverted. In other words, Islam historically, once it's introduced into a society, goes through certain steps. Right? Whether it was introduced in a society at the time of Prophet Muhammad in Arabia, or was it introduced in the society of America in our time. First thing you see, if you think about it, you think about how Islam spread. I mentioned this before, how it spreads in the urban centers. In the case of Prophet Muhammad, it spread in Mecca and Medina, two urban centers. And then as it spread, and you saw how the Prophet said they opened up masajid. We talked about this before. Right? Now, we at the point now where you can go and find many people who have children with Muslim names. And so you see that an influence of Islam is spreading. Right? You see that people are trying to realize something in them, and they're taking a bold step to become Muslim. But however, becoming Muslim in name or in dress is not going to bring you to the fullness of وَإِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. You're not going to, because you only have the outer show. You don't have the fullness of what Islam comes to do. Islam just don't come to give you a dress code or a few cliches. Islam comes to help you unlock the potential of your very human existence. That's why I say again, I'm talking to those of you, if you have realized any achievement in your life, you know that you follow these principles that are laid out in the Qur'an. You had to have faith, you had to have perseverance, you had to work hard. You knew that you got nothing, didn't you just walk out one day and you found a gold nugget laying on the top of the ground? No. You want gold? Dig in the ground. You want diamonds? Dig in the ground. You want anything, you got to make an effort to go deep within the material reality and bring it out. Well, that's a sign that people who are reflecting on the majesty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala realize that if I want to bring out the best in me, I got to be willing to dig deep in myself. If I just go on the surface, I may find a rock, I may find a stone, but I'm not going to get the best. So this Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in, I said, yeah, that 10th form is pointing deep within the essence of the other person. That's why when you ask for forgiveness, you say, Astaghfirullah. Again, you want forgiveness, not just saying it on your mouth, you're saying it with your very soul. So for us, moving now along this, what I like to call this next step. This next step, or next level, require that people who have been successful on the first level, right? Those who have come out of just having Islam as a outer show, but who have thought deeply about where Islam is, what it has done in history, and where it is going, they begin to look for people who have likewise the same concerns. Those who are not concerned about Islamic life and as far as a community, they're business small. They're trying to make a few dollars. No, that's good, that's great. But you got to think about Islamic business life. Where is the Muslim business card? What is Islam plans for the business life? Where is Islam plans for educational life? For the senior citizens centers? Where are these things? إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. You're seeking God's help to realize what? The fullness of the human life. All right? It's not enough. Just come out and pray. If that was fulfilled Islamic life, Prophet Muhammad would have never left Mecca. They were praying in Mecca. But it showed that the need that was even in our purpose, and in essence, was to leave a prophetic model that we look at and see the whole life. And what the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about Prophet, he says of us, he said, you are the best community, ukhrij lin-nas, brought out of the people who are good, for the kind, for the best in human beings. You know, you are ripped out, you're ukhr means you got something that's dug out. So if you think about how Islam goes, a lot of people get it, they hear it. Some they on what I call the fringe of the Islamic world, Islamic mind. They have Islam, they're under the warm glow of Islam, but they never get to the core of Islam, where it's so perpetuating sunlight of wisdom and truth. Where the whole life, the business life, the educational life, the community life, the social life, all these things have to be looked at. When you think about where Islam has to go, because every interest that you have must be realized in the Muslim life. Because everybody is not an imam. If all you got is people come to the masjid and make a prayer on Friday, you have very, very little of the essence of Islam. Islam comes to bring people into the fullness of Islamic life, because you're saying, Iyyaka na'budu, we worship God. How do we worship Allah? It's just making prayers. Everything we do is worship. Our whole life is ibadah. Not just our prayers. No, our prayers is one aspect. All right? If all you have is you praying to Allah, but you still spending 90% of your time with the non-Muslim, then that's where your life is. Your life is not with Islam. Islam comes to gradually compete, to bring you into an orbit where your life is orbiting around the great sun of Islam. Right? Your life becomes what? Is warmed by the rays of the Qur'an and the Sunnah Prophet Islam. Everything you do, your business life, your social life, your political life, all these things are based on you following the example of the Prophet Islam. Think about it, as I mentioned last time I was here, he didn't get to Medina and said, we need to go ask the Persians how to set up society. He just ask the people in the Byzantine Empire. No, he began to follow the wisdom of the Quran, and he organized the Muslims in a way that the whole life would be realized in brothers and Muslims. Since everybody was praying the same prayer, Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. That everyone knew that if I'm to realize my potential, I can't be concerned with you. If you don't want to, that's you. But I got to look at what is my potential, and I bring my potential to the table of Islamic unity. Look, this is what I have to offer. All right? Whatever you have to offer, you bring that, you put it in, look, because I'm what? Iyyaka na'budu. I worship Allah, and I'm asking Allah to help me realize my potential, and I'm bringing that to the table. Look, this is what I can do. All right? I may not be able to do as much as the other brother or other sister, but I know what I can do, and when I go before my Lord, my record is straight. What He deposited in me was brought out, manifest, and now I say, look, Iyyaka na'budu, I'm worshiping Allah, wa iyyaka nasta'in, I want God's help to help me. All right? And then we together bring our collective things up. This is what we've done. Right? So this is what you have to understand. So when you understand that, you know that we have to begin to pool our resources for the good of the community. Because as long as you have this individual interest, you would die, and your ideas you have would die. No human being lives forever. So, but when you're part of a community, and that community lives on, even when you're physically gone, it continues to feed and grow. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا استعينوا بالصبر والصلاة. All right? Oh, Allah is speaking to the collective group, not just the individual, but each individual within that group that you realize that you got to hear that call and you got to make your contribution so that when the records are open, what did you do? You can't say, well, you know, I want to, brother Imam, look, maybe Allah can bless you with more. Can you loan me a few of your barakah? It don't work that way. Every person will stand on their own record. And Allah says what in the Quran? It says, Allah places no burden on the soul beyond what it is given it. So if we have the burden, I'm talking to us, we the adults, we have the burden now to establish Islamic community life. To establish Islamic community life. All right? To reconnect our hereditary line back to its original source where it depended on God, and we were motivated and inspired by the natural creation like every other human being on this planet. We didn't look for other people to do things that we could do for ourselves. We were inspired. The natural man, think about natural man. He was able to see the signs of Allah. I was talking to brother last Saturday. I said, it's like, I don't know how many of you watch these shows. We talk about one of the ones I love is the monarch butterfly. Some of you may be familiar with this. He is a butterfly that starts out in Mexico, in this particular forest. And he flies so far into the United States, mates, produces another generation, flies. It takes him about 12 to 13 years to get all the way up to northern Alberta, Canada, in that area. Then remember it takes him several generations to do this. But then that last one, the one that's born up in Alberta, Canada, they got to fly all the way back to Mexico, nonstop. There's no generation. He has to, those ones, there's millions of them start out. And what am I saying there? What was the lesson I got from that? We say, we come to Islam, right? There's been a progression since we came to the shores of North America. Our Islam was removed from us. And then gradually we came and we had different generations. We had tried to come into black conscience, Marcus Garvey, Nation of Islam. We had the Orthodox movement with Sheikh Dawood, trying to get us to the point of establishing Islamic life. So we get all the way to the point where we now realize we got to do this thing because there's nothing coming behind us that has our experiences. Our children most of the time are born at a time where Islam is not as challenged. Think about it. Think about it. Most of us we come to time now, there are massages everywhere for them to go to. But if they don't understand that we got to be like that last butterfly who has in his genetic makeup, the code that says you got to go all the way back home. All right, you can't stop along the way. You got to glide on the wind. You got to do all these things because why? If you don't establish it, those coming behind you are not inspired to do it. Right? Well, let's be clear on this. Most people that you see in Islam today are comfortable. They're not thinking about where Islam is going to be at 10, 20, 30, 100 years from now. And the proof of it is, you ask them how much are they sacrificing for that. All right? Think about what I'm saying. You think so? I was thinking about this. I said, look, we have people. We have been together well over 30 years. The people in this house right here. We have been flying. We've been dropping out, flying, dropping out, getting eaten by birds, and getting knocked home. Little things. Nasta'inu bis-sabri. We have to be patient with each other. And now, in 2012, we finally put together a team of people, realized we got to take things all the way home. We got to get all the way on back to having Islamic community life in America. So all the brothers and sisters who have all kind of experiences, we be meeting now. We met. We said, look, how we got to do this thing? What can you do? What can you do? We begin to form committees, form teams. Why? Why is it so important? We know that in our lifetime, in our lifeline, not only in our lifetime, but in our lifeline, we got to leave a legacy that will point to what Islam came and did for us would not go away. Because think about a lot of our children, I see them in the public sector, big thing, real obvious. Yeah, the young girls think that Islam is just wearing a scarf. They have on the tight jeans, but as long as they got on the scarf, they Muslim. You got the young boy, as long as they got on the kufi, then he's cursing and they think he's Muslim. The Islamic knowledge is not there. And the spirit of sacrifice in too many of our young people is not there. We feel very comfortable, like, and many of us even sit on this floor. If you don't like what's going on here, you go any place else, all right? You know, it's very little commitment to go the whole journey. All right, very low commitment. We don't want to be that last generation of modern butterflies that look. We got to think all the way back to the beginning so we can have a rebirth. You won't have a rebirth until somebody delivers this genetic code that says, think for self, do for self, sacrifice, believe in Allah. These things, you got to have these. If you're going to have a community, if you don't have people who are willing to sacrifice, it'll be no community. There are people who came so we can have this. But now we got to be that one. Nasta'inu bi sabri was salat. Wa inna Allah ma'a. Allah is with. You look in the Quran. So I won't go too much, but you understand. Study the characteristics Allah says He's with. Allah is with those who fight in His way, if they're solid war. Allah is with those who strive in His way, with their belonging and with their very soul. Allah is with them. And Allah says, and if Allah is with you, who can be against you and win? All right? So we look at this, what we have before us. We have to be able to be those ones who have the patience and the perseverance, not for us, but for those coming behind us. Look, this Islam is real. This Islam is powerful. This Islam will get you established in the land. All right? If you don't have that, then what is going to inspire the young people? Why would they feel they got to build community life? They feel comfortable going to the bowling alley, going to the recreation center, somebody else's. They don't think about, well, can we have our own? All right? And what does it take to have our own? Oh, you who believe. Oh, you who have faith. Seek Allah's help. Nasta'inu bis-sabri was-salat. For verily Allah is with the patient, those who persevere, those who fight in His cause that they're single war. That's what's needed. When you have the brothers and Muslims, we can get all the way back home.